everyone, my name is Ariel and this is the video where I talk about everything that I have knit in 2023. And yeah, this is going to be a long video. I did not re-watch my last year's video, but I'm going to try a different format this year just because I feel like maybe it'll make some sense. I think I liked how I did it last year. Basically, if you didn't watch last year's one, I believe that I went in chronological order of, I think, when I finished projects throughout the year in 2022. But for 2023, I am going to break it down into each type of category of projects, so like sweaters and cardigans and tank tops or accessories. I will do those in order of when I finish them, like within each category. So at least that's the goal for this video. And yeah, we're gonna talk about everything that I have knit in 2023. And I actually have one crocheted item, which is also very exciting. But real quick, before we jump right into it, 2023 as a whole, I did one of my podcast videos. I talked about kind of an overall review and answered some questions about how my year went. But the biggest thing for me and my crafting in 2023, I think, is that it is the year where I started spinning. And so you will see in some of these projects that I did use some of my hand spun in the projects. And yeah, I will probably not, we'll see how I will talk about each project. I won't be able to say every single note that I remember for each project, but I do have my projects in Ravelry, hopefully as updated as much as I can with yarn, yardages, and hopefully some pictures. And yeah, so you can definitely look there. And if you have more questions, feel free to leave a comment down below as well. But yeah, in this video, project-wise, I will be sharing after about a year. Some of them are like I just finished them in December, so didn't have that much time to kind of like get an overall like review on it, but you know, how I feel about the project after a while. Do I still wear it? Which ones I wore the most? And yeah, I'll just talk about my overall impressions about the project. So with that, oh, and I'll also talk about numbers because I did try to get some numbers here to talk about. Okay, so this year, really quickly, since I talked about this was the first year I started spinning, and I do believe that those are projects in themselves as well. I made about 12 spinning projects, and I guess it's maybe kind of weird to, how do I count a spinning thing as a project? But basically, if it's just like either a same colorway, if I have like 2 braids, I'll call that like one project. Sweater spin, I'll call that one project, even though that might be, 5 or 6 braids of yarn or fiber. But I'm counting about 12 projects so far in 2023, or well, when I started. I didn't start at the beginning of 2023, but 12 projects. I think I spun about 65 ounces. That sounds kind of a lot. Each braid is maybe about 4 ounces, but I think I have about 65 ounces of fiber that I've spun in 2023, and I did one sweater spin. So I'm excited to, now that I have those stats for 2023, to see how that compares in 2024. Moving on to my knitted projects, I have 59 projects in total. I have 12 that are test knits this year, and maybe should I do the comparison of numbers as I go through the categories? So again, projects total this year is 59. I had 66 last year, so I do have less total projects this year, but that was actually kind of a goal of mine for 2023, was to make less projects. I had no goal on making more. I already make a lot, so yeah. So it's actually great. I am very happy with that number. That number is also large, so it's, yeah. Test knits, I did 17 in 2022 and 12 in 2023, so I also did a few less test knits, which is also totally fine with me. I actually, also wanted to do less test knits, so that's a plus. surprisingly, okay, so if we get into the type of projects and garments in the breakdown, I did the same amount of cardigans as 2022, which is 9. So I made 9 cardigans. And then for the tank tops, shirts, or vests, which I'm all kind of counting in one category, I made 14 in 2023, in last year. And that is less than what I made in 2022, which was 25. For shawls and scarves, last year I made 8, which is more than 2022 when I made 5. So last year was definitely a shawl and scarf kind of year. I could have, I think I could have predicted that number without counting, that I did make more last year than the year before because, yeah, I just felt like I made more shawls, especially. Socks. I knew that I made less last year than the year before. So in 2023, I made 3 socks. Only 3. The year before that, I made 8. I made a few more sweaters actually in 2023. So I made 19 last year, and the year before that, I made 14. So we did go up a little bit in the sweaters. Hats or beanies, it's pretty much the same. I made 3 last year, and the year before that I made 2. For other accessories, I made the same amount, 3. But other accessories is very more of a random category, so yeah. But I think that is about, those are all the numbers I have written down. So hopefully that was interesting. I find that interesting for myself just to see maybe throughout, the years, which categories of things I end up liking to make more in some years or others. So yeah, I'm hoping to continue to do this kind of number breakdown in 2024 as well. All right, let's get into actually showing the projects, which is probably what you're here to see anyway. I don't have a set order that I'm going to do this in as far as categories, but we are going to start small. Let's start with the smaller categories, which is the accessories and socks. So let's start with socks because I feel like that'll be easy. We're going to ease into this. Okay. So for socks, as I've mentioned, I made 3 last year, and where do I start? The first pair of socks that I made was the Almost Argyle socks. It is a pattern by Emily Curtis. And let me get my notes out for this. Hopefully I can find these pretty quickly. Almost Argyle socks by Emily Curtis. For this video, I will be trying, hopefully, to put information on the screen because it'll be easier for me, I think, to add all of that information on the screen than in the description because it'll be too much. And I probably can't remember every single designer name for a lot of the patterns, but I want to give you that information, so I will be trying to put that on the screen this time. But yes, these are the Almost Argyle socks, first socks that I made in 2023. And I wear these very often. I really like the pattern. I remember them being really fun to make because it is simple. There is a chart, but it is simple and engaging at the same time. And I believe that I realize now I need to also talk about the yarn. So hopefully my memory serves me right. I used Explore Knits sock set, and this was the Fia sock set. So I forget what the tonal mini skein was, but it was the Fia main skein for this. And again, really like the socks, wear them all the time. They were a great pattern and very happy with them. Okay, next socks, because socks should go by hopefully pretty quickly compared to everything else. So my next 2 pairs are pretty much the same. They look like very different sizes. It's really funny. I made so the pattern I used for these is the Thursday socks by Sarah Opie, I believe, S Knits on Instagram. And they were a toe up sock, and I used a self-striping yarn for this from Tiny Human Knits, which also came, so I bought the self-striping yarn was a 100-gram skein, and it came with a mini and that I used for the heels. Well, heels for my pair and heels and the cuff for this one. So I made one pair for myself, one for my boyfriend, and I used up pretty much all the yarn, which was fantastic. And you can tell that these ones are definitely more like worn, but I do wear mine. It just doesn't look like it compared to these. But yeah, really like these. I love how the self-striping came out. It was really fun to make because of the self-striping. I really like toe-up socks, I've been coming to realize, and so yeah, this was a great pattern, just a very simple vanilla sock, but vanilla sock I think is great pattern for self-striping yarn. So yeah, these get a lot of wear out of them as well. I love knitted socks, and yeah, I say I love knitted socks, and so maybe it's surprising I didn't make as many socks this past year, but this year I do want to make more socks because I love wearing them. So yeah, so that is the last of my socks, the 3 socks I made in 2023. Sticking with this kind of like accessory, I said that weird, accessory knits. Let's move on to hats. So I made 3 hats last year, and let's start with my favorite hat pattern, the Manhattan hat. So I believe it was in 2022 where I made the Manhattan hat bulky. So last year I made the regular Manhattan hat. I used a DK weight yarn from Sorella. It was I think it was the cashmere DK base. It was leftover from one of my pullovers, which I will also talk about later. And I made the regular Manhattan hat. And this is what it looks like. I absolutely love it. I do wear this all the time. I think I should have sized one down when I made this because the original pattern, I think, asked for worsted weight yarn, and I used DK, and so it is a little loose. Also because I use cashmere, so it is a little bit more drapey, but I still wear it, and I really like it. I think the color's great. And yeah, so this is the Manhattan hat by Tori Yu, or Tori Knits NYC on Instagram. And then all the hats I've made were patterns by Tori Yu. So the next one that I made in the year was the Brownstone beanie by Tori Yu, and I used this is the one where you use a fingering weight yarn, and the brim is with the yarn held single, and then this top part is with the yarn held double, so it is 2 different gauges, and I think it's really fun and a great way to use up 1 full skein of fingering weight yarn, which is what I did here. I believe I used woolberry yarn in, I think it was the berry sock base in the colorway October, and this is what it looks like with the variegated yarn held single and held double up here. And it has that similar kind of like top of the hat shaping as the Manhattan hat, just kind of, it's not ribbed. And yeah, I really like this. The sizing is good for me. The only thing, so I would definitely make this pattern again, but I think I would use a different yarn. I think for some reason, I think this one, because it's the berry sock base, I don't know why, but it is a little more itchy on my head. So I still wear it, but maybe less than my Manhattan hats. But yeah, I still like it. And then last but not least is the 3rd Manhattan hat pattern that there is. So I made the bulky, I made the original, and then I made the Manhattan hat light, which was made for sport weight yarn. This was also my first hand spun hat, and so I used my hand spun for this. This was one of my first skeins of hand spun, so it is very thick and thin in some areas, but I love the striping colors that it made. The pink and purple is really nice. I bought the fiber for this from Art and Alchemy Fiber Arts, I believe. at their booth at Flock Fiber Festival last year, spun it, and this was BFL, and it's surprisingly soft. I don't know how much of that maybe was how I spun it, because honestly, I think I might have underspun lots of this, because it kind of kept breaking on me when I was plying it together, like while I was spinning. Maybe that helped with keeping it really light, but it's very soft, and I do wear this quite often. So yeah, so these are the three hats that I made in 2023. And this will not be the last time I make Manhattan hats. I will be making more this coming year. Okay, now, other accessories. We are gonna go with, oh yes, okay. Here we go. 3 other type accessories, just because I feel like these are too small of a category to like have their own. I made my first ever mittens, fingerless mittens. Well, mittens in general, and these are fingerless mittens. These are the school run mittens. I believe that this pattern is from Penrose Knits. And here, I'll just like put them on my hands. You can see them. The yarn is Woolberry, and I forget the colorway name, but I should have it on the screen, hopefully. And this one's also interesting in construction because it is a fingering weight yarn, but for kind of like the edging, you hold it single, and then for the rest of the mitt, you hold it double. And so that's how, yeah, that's just how it's constructed. I really like this. It was a good like leftover, like this was leftover from another project, and so I think I used up all of the leftovers just making these, and so it worked out perfectly yardage wise. The one thing is these were my first mittens. I didn't know how to do the sizing, and so I think they're just a little big. You can see here it's kind of like I definitely should have, it has positive ease on my hand, and it should have negative for it to not like fall off my hands like that. But they're still wearable in a pinch, and yeah, they're great. So those are my school run mittens. I also made some scrunchies. In my counts, I counted this as one project, even though I made 6 scrunchies. But these are the Soho scrunchies. This is a pattern by Tori Yu, and I used my mini set from Explorer Knits Summer Market. It was like their neon mini set, and they all have colorway names, but I do not remember all of them. But I do know that this neon pink is in my neon era, and this one is grapefruit. So of course I would know the pinks. But yeah, so these are the Soho scrunchies. I use these all the time. Really happy with these, and after I made these, I keep telling myself like, yeah, scrunchies are great. They're great for leftover yarn as well, but I just like never make them. But I know I like them and that I use them, so we'll see if I make more scrunchies this coming year. But yeah, these are the Soho scrunchies. And then I made one more pair of mittens, and because I liked my school run mittens that I just talked about, but that they were a little too big, I decided to make another fingerless mitten, but different pattern. So these are the Manhattan mitts. This pattern is by Tori Yu, and let me put them on. I love these things so much. I finally picked the right size, I think, and so they fit really good. I love wearing them out. I never understood fingerless mitts until I started wearing them, and I think they're very handy, especially if you want to like actually feel stuff with your fingers but that your hands are cold. These are perfect. I love the, like, I guess were these increases? Yeah, they were increases on the thumb palm area here. It's very cute, and actually it's really funny because it uses the same yarn as my sweater that I'm wearing right now, so it feels very like one. I'm all connected. I used a hand spun for this, the hand spun fiber was the confetti fiber from Lobby and Amy, and it's a really cute like neon tweedy gray yarn, and I want to make more of these Manhattan mitts. I think that they are so great. I love them so much. I'm surprised at how much I love fingerless mitts. But yeah, so those are the 3 accessories that I made. And then let's move on to a slightly bigger category, maybe? What do I have here? Okay, let's go to the shawls and scarves. Okay, so I have 8 of them, and I will be doing this. I believe I put it in my list in chronological order of when I finish them throughout the year. Let's see. Let's start with, okay. All right, shawls and scarves. We'll start with a scarf first. This is the Soul Sister scarf. Oh, I just realized, I believe that this was a test knit. I'm hoping that I don't forget which ones were test knits, just to remember. But I believe this was a test knit for Sorry Nordland, and I used a hand-dyed yarn. It was a fingering weight yarn, and I dyed it with avocado. So it was like this light pink tan color, and that's like the base color. And then I paired it with a Surrey from Woolberry Fiber Co. And I forget the name of the Surrey off the top of my head, but it had some golden and pink speckles or like variegation to the Surrey. And so that's how it kind of has this color here. And this scarf has a dip stitch pattern, which makes it look like hearts, which I think are so cute. Like that's what attracted me to it in the first place. It has an I-cord edging all around, which is done as you knit it, and I love at both ends it has this, here, should I show it like this? It has this edging, diagonal. It has, so on one end you start and it increases to the width, and then at the other end it decreases until there's a point. And so I think that that's really cute. I have been wearing this a good amount. I think it's really easy to just wrap around your neck like this and just like tie it. So when I'm going out for a short amount of time, I just love wearing my knits, and so any opportunity I have to wear a knit, like a small scarf, I've been just, when I go out to the market, I might not need it, like I might be okay, but I'm not like sweating while wearing it, so I will wear it. And this is kind of like how I would wear it, and just have like a big jacket over it, so it just keeps my neck warm. And I've really been liking these small scarves lately. So yeah, this has been getting a lot of wear for me, and because it has Surrey in it, it's very soft and quite comfortable to wear on my neck. So yeah, I believe that this is the Soul Sister scarf, has 2 sizes, I think, and this is the smaller size. So yeah, so that is the Soul Sister scarf by Sorry Nordland. And then the next thing that I made is the Yoliday shawl by Emily Curtis, and this was such a fun project. So let me pull this out here and show it to you. Here it is. And this was, okay, so Yoliday shawl by Emily Curtis, fingering weight yarn. I used 4 different colors for mine. The original pattern has a fingering weight version and a DK weight version, and they all are kind of meant to be with a fade, but of course you can use however many colors you want, or fade or non-fade. And so for this, I decided 4 different colors, and they are all from the 2022 Winter Solstice box from Explorer Knits. So all 4 of these are the variegated colors from Explorer Knits, and I do not remember all of the color names, but hopefully again that I will put that on the screen. But I love this so much. I think it looks so good together. And now that it is colder, I also have been bringing this out lately to wear. The shape of this, okay, so this is a worked 2-color brioche, and I just, in some sections, worked a single color, and then I did like a 2-color while I'm trying to like transition to the next color, where I work by itself and then do a 2-color. So that's how I did that here. And the shape of this is, I don't know how to say the shape, but maybe if you just look here, so like there's 2 points on this where you do increases out, and so it kind of looks like a, kind of like wings, and it is a great shape to, for it to drape nicely as a shawl over, like just like this, and that you can still move your hands around and that it still covers your arms. Like I found this shape to be really nice with, yeah, draping it over like your back, and so that's open in the front, and then still being able to move your arms around and stay warm. Some other ones I think just kind of like fall off, or they don't actually like cover your arms. Like look how much this covers my arms when it's draped like this. So that has been really nice, but I've also worn this out. So I take it like this, right? And then I scrunch it, and then I fold the front, come in from the front, and then wrap the ends around like this, and kind of, you know, I can either tuck this in if I have like a jacket over, but yeah, this is like extra cozy, and yeah, I've been wearing it like this as well too when it's really cold outside. My mom wore this last year when she came up and it was kind of cold, and she really liked it as well. So yeah, lots of good use from this last year, and also for this year it'll get lots of good use too. So again, this is the Holiday Shawl by Emily Curtis. Okay, I will be trying to, hopefully it doesn't take too long. I want to try and be organized and fold these things and put them away as I talk about them. So yeah, you'll be seeing me try to do that throughout the video. Okay, next shawl is the Lo-Fi shawl. This pattern is by my friend Bridget. Hi Bridget, if you're watching. Okay, here it is. Let me hold it up. It is so good. Okay, here, wait. Okay, here it is. It is a triangle shawl, but it is worked from the tip, the smallest part here. It is worked in this direction, and so you do increases as you work, and I think that that is a great way to use up your yarn, because you can work up to whenever you need to, whenever you run out of yarn, and so you can make sure that you are using up as much yarn as you would like. So that was great. The yarn I used for this, it was a fingering weight, it was Woolberry natural base, it was a non-superwash base. I believe the colorway is Hello Autumn, which looks great. I love it. And okay, let me maybe put this closer. So the stitch pattern in this was also very relaxing to make, because it is just sections of a garter stitch and also like a ribbed garter section, and so it was really easy to get into the groove of the pattern. You didn't need to, like, it's a pattern you can memorize, and so you don't have to look at the pattern all the time while you're working it, and especially during the garter stitch sections, you can just knit, and it was really great. I love that I used the Woolberry natural base for this, because if you haven't tried it, it is so soft. Like, I love that base. I think I used maybe 3 skeins of this, but you can also make like a 2 skein thing. It'll be, you know, a little smaller than this, but still very wearable. So it is a pattern that I would recommend for a shawl, and one that I would also like to make again at some point. I love the drape of fingering weight shawls, and this is a great one. So yeah, this is another one that my mom wore when she visited me last year, and she also liked this one. So it's one that you can, I think, just wear as like how I've seen people wear like triangle shaped shawls, where the triangle part is kind of like in the front and you can wrap that section around the back. You can also just, I still don't know, like, do people go out and wear it like draped around their back like this? This could work. I don't know if you could maybe tie it in the front too so it doesn't like fall open, but yeah, this one's a really great one. Love this pattern and yarn combination. So that is the lo-fi shawl. Let me fold this up. Again, as you can tell, I've been loving the shawls this past year, and I think I've gotten a better hang of like maybe kind of how to wear it out as well, and so I think that's why I've been making a bit more of them, because I've actually been able to figure out how to wear them. Sort of, maybe, I don't know. Let me know how you wear your shawls. Okay, next up is the half and half triangles wrap. I did fold this, and I just washed this actually too, maybe like a month ago. Freshly washed. You can see that fold. Okay. So this is the half and half triangles wrap. I believe it's a free pattern by Pearl Soho, and it is a big square. It is all garter stitch, but it is kind of made in these two triangles, but in like a diagonal. And this was my first time making the half and half triangles wrap. I think some people like make a whole bunch of these, and I do have plans for future ones. I just haven't cast on my second one yet, but I do have yarn planned for a second one. And for me, I just thought that this would be a great way to use up sometimes I will buy 2 skeins of fingering weight of a color, so that I could, it was me trying to resist buying a sweater quantity, but also wanting enough to make some kind of garment. 2 skeins of fingering weight for me can make most tanks or tees. And in this case, I was like, well, if I don't want to make a tank or tee out of it, I could use a combination of a tonal and a variegated to make a half and half triangles wrap, and I thought that would be really cute, and I think that I made the right choice here. I think it is a great idea, and I will be doing that same like tonal and variegated yarn combination for my future ones as well. The pattern was fun to make. It is all garter stitch. It did feel like it was taking a while towards the end, but it is a good just like meditative knit to have like in the background that you could just pick up whenever you wanted to just do knit stitches. And it was pretty easy to memorize. The only time I had to look back at the pattern was towards like the end or when you're going to switch to the next color. And the only thing is I would have liked for this to use more of my like second skein of each color, because now I have maybe like half of each left, and so I don't know what to do with that. I could, now that I've made one with the recommended like number of stitches, and now I know what the pattern is, you can cast this on with any number of stitches with any weight of yarn, and you can get, just different sizes for it, and so that's great. It's also a free pattern, and so, that's also a plus. And yeah, it is a big square. I know some people have said, what are you going to do with a big square? For me, the way I have been using this is either as a lap blanket, because it is a square, and it's really nice just to cover your lap. I like to use it when I'm sitting and working from home. It's good to just like keep on my lap and keep me warm that way. Or if I do want to wear it as a shawl or around my neck, you could fold it in multiple ways. So one is just like down this way, so you can have 2 colors kind of showing like that, and kind of like have that in place. You can fold it any kind of way if you only want kind of one main color showing. But this works as well. I did wear this like this as a scarf when I went to Canada to watch the figure skating competition there. I think sometime at the end of last year. Was it October? I think it was in October. I wore this to keep myself warm in the arena, just like this, and it was very good. Did its job, and so I was very happy with that. So yeah, so this is my half and half triangles wrap, and I know this like doesn't matter at all, but I do like that when you fold it, because it is supposed to be a square, and since I'm gonna fold it now, I can show you that you can still get a, like, here. You fold it and you get a little thing like this where you can see the two colors, and you can just like store it like this. I am kind of looking forward to having multiple of these, and so that I can store them like this and just see, it's like a little, looks like a little swatch of the triangle wrap. But yeah, that makes me very happy. Okay, next up is the Sophie scarf, and this is the Sophie scarf. I knit this with hand spun. The hand spun was, oh my gosh, it was a 50% cashmere, 50% maybe merino. It definitely was 50% cashmere. Like that was definitely one half of the fiber. And so this thing is so soft. The fiber is from La Bien Amy, and I think the base was called Volute. It is a very pricey fiber because of the cashmere, probably, most likely. So I only got one braid of it, which was 50 grams, which is, I think, almost 2 ounces. But I spun all of that, and I used up pretty much all of it to knit this, but I thought that it was a great way to use up that small amount of fiber. I believe this is a DK weight pattern, because my yarn that came out was about DK weight, and I did have to shorten it a little bit, because what is good about this pattern is that you start at one end and increase, and if you weigh out your yarn, you can tell, or you can figure out when you reach about halfway of your yarn, and then start decreasing so that you don't run out towards the end. I just had a little bit left over, which is totally fine, and yeah, this is great for, I was like, what do I want to do with a small amount of cashmere yarn? And I was like, a scarf would be great because I want that softness to be used around my neck. And so could definitely, oh, it's so cute. This is kind of like how I've been wearing it. It is so soft. I'm making like this, rubbing this around my neck. It is so soft. Very cute, a very quick knit. I think I knit this in one day. The spinning took me a bit longer, but yeah, I knit this in one day, and I'm very happy with it. I have been using it, and so it's a good knit, and I love it. Makes me extra happy that it is also a hand spun, and I can finally do the thing where I can roll it up and make it look like a croissant. It's so cute. So cute and so soft. So that is my Sophie scarf. Next I have my Indulgent Brioche cowl, which is another pattern by Bridget. Oh, BZB Knits. That is her handle. I don't think I said that earlier about the lo-fi shawl, but Bridget BZB Knits on Instagram. And this is also another hand spun and also hand dyed knit, and so I used two different yarn for this. So this first one that you can see mostly in like the ribbing, I held a fingering weight yarn double, and that yarn was I believe it was like a Bear Knit Picks yarn that had some alpaca in it. So it is very soft. I held it double to get about a DK weight. And it is yarn that I dyed myself to like this like mauvey pinkish brown color. And then the kind of color changing yarn you see here is another hand spun. It was, I believe, a Targi fiber from 316 Dye Studio, and I think the colorway was like garden meadow, garden something, which is green. It was green and pink, and I really love seeing those color changes as I used it throughout the project, and I love it. Oh, this is my first cowl ever, first knitted cowl, and I love it, and so I can see more cowl knitting in my future. So yeah, so this is kind of how it, yeah, I think I really like it because it does the same thing as small scarves for me. Like, it is really easy to put on, it's no fuss, and on top of that, I don't have to worry about it falling off. Because even though I tie my small scarves around my neck, I'm always kind of worried, like, what if it unties if I'm like moving around too much? But yeah, this, I do not have to worry about it falling off my neck. So yeah, I want to make more cowls this coming year. If you have a favorite cowl pattern, let me know. I would highly recommend making this pattern, especially if you have some hand spun lying around and kind of waiting for a project, because this is a great way to show off your hand spun, I think, in my opinion. Okay, so yeah, that's the Indulgent Brioche Cowl. And then I have, ooh, yes, another great project. This is my Cinnabar shawl. This pattern is by Andrea Mowry, and this was a friend knit last year. I made it with friends, and we also used some hand spun, though mine was half hand spun, half store-bought yarn. But here is my Cinnabar. It is huge, it is squishy, and I love it so much. The main color for this, which is this like gray-white neutral color, you can see it maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's the color you see on the border, was a Durum Natura Ulyss. It was the sport weight yarn, and forget the colorway name. And then my contrast color is some hand spun. It was a Corriedale fiber from Bella Filato Studios in the colorway Sand Dunes, which is, if I hold it back, maybe you can see the color more. It was like a purpley pink, peachy pink, gray, multicolored hand-dyed fiber, and I think it looks so good. And yeah, it's a great shawl. I'm very happy with it. I finished it somewhat recently, like towards the end of the year, so I haven't gotten too much wear out of it, but it is so big that it is super drapey to just put it over your back like this. And it is an asymmetrical shawl though, so this tip on my left side isn't going to be like at the back, because this side would be really long, and so it's kind of like this, or I've been trying to figure out the best way to wrap this around the front too. Oh my gosh, okay. I don't know, I've been trying to figure it out. We will figure it out. I think, yeah, we will figure it out, but yeah, I love this thing so much. It started feeling like the rows were so long because, yeah, you make it and you keep increasing, and yeah. Oh, one side is a garter stitch and the other side is a 2-color brioche. But yeah, that is the Cinnabar shawl. I think this is my first shawl by Andrea Mowry, and I am totally hooked. I want to make more shawls by Andrea Mowry, and I want to use hand spun for all of my shawls. I think they are so pretty. So yeah, that is my Cinnabar. Okay, also I think I mentioned in podcast episode that I would love to make another cinnabar using a fiber or a hand-dyed fiber that has a lot more like contrasty colors, because I love this one, but the colors of the handspun are a lot more similar. Like there are different colors, but they're very similar to each other. But yeah, I would love to have a more contrasty color handspun. Emily Curtis finished her cinnabar, and she has a very contrast color looking one, and it is so pretty. I love the colors in hers, and so I would love to have one like that as well, but I might not want to knit another one of these anytime super soon, just because it is a ginormous project, but I love it. Okay, and then last, so this is the 8th shawl scarf in this category, is my turtle dove shawl, which I just finished. I finished it this was a mystery knit along by Sari Nordland in December, and she released one clue or part of the pattern every week for 4 weeks, and I finished it pretty much on that same schedule. And it's this very cute triangle shawl. It was worked this way, so you start at one tip, increase, and then once you hit the middle, start decreasing. It has a really cute cable and bobble pattern, and I love this like wavy twisted stitch section. I think that's really cute. And yeah, I actually wore this out today, so yeah, I think this is how I wore it. It's actually pretty long, so I think that it wouldn't fall off if you just like draped it across like this, but I did tie it in the front just because I was kind of worried. I didn't want it to fall off while I was grocery shopping, so did wear it like this. And the yarn I used was both woolberry, so I held a sport weight yarn with a Surrey. The pattern calls for a fingering weight, but I wanted to use yarn in my stash, and as far as color combinations went, I thought this would be good, so I just used a sport weight. So I think mine is a little bigger than pattern size says, but it works for me, and I did not run out of yarn, which is great. So I used a sport weight, which I think was the creamsicle colorway from Woolberry, and then the Surrey, which is also from Woolberry, was coral, which was a tonal, very light peachy pink. I think that looks really cute. Okay, and that is it for the shawls and scarves category. Okay, moving on to some bigger categories. So far, though, I will say I don't want to jinx it, but I'm pretty impressed with how much I remember about the yarn and the designer for these makes. Yeah, hope I didn't just jinx myself. But we are moving on to maybe the next biggest category, cardigans. So I made 9 cardigans in 2023. And let's just get started. So, okay, the first cardigan that I finished in 2023 was a test knit. This was the Azalea cardigan. This was a test knit for, see, I just jinxed myself. Okay, this was a Joan, oh my gosh, what's her Instagram handle? She had a book come out. This was for her book, and I saw this pattern, and I thought it was so cute. I don't have anything like it in my wardrobe, and whenever I see a bow tie on a knit, I love it. I don't know what it is. I think it's so cute, and so I wanted to make this, and this is a cabled, like short sleeve cardigan where it's open in the front and it just has a tie right here. I will show you the back because it also has this cable bobble pattern in the back with seed stitch all the way around, and then the short sleeves are just stockinette. And see, I totally jinxed myself because now I don't remember the yarn I used for this off the top of my head. Although, to be fair, I think this was definitely made earlier in 2023. But this yarn has such great stitch definition. I don't think I hear people talk about stitch definition, and I don't really quite get it, or I never really, really got it. But I think with this, I'm like, oh, I think I know what people are saying now. Like, especially with this seed stitch. Yeah, it's great. This yarn is great. It's very breathable. It is, I will say, sometimes a little hard to figure out when to wear this because it's either, if it's really hot outside, I don't want like anything that feels kind of, like I want something really light, and even though it's a short sleeve, like this is open, and so I'd be wearing a shirt under this, and sometimes I just don't want double layers of anything, but it's nice to wear indoors. Like if it's cool-ish indoors. Actually, does that make any sense? I have worn this a couple times. I think it's cute to wear it to, like, sometimes when, I think I wore it when there was like a dinner party at someone's house. So, you know, it's like not really hot, but it's kind of cool, but you're indoors, so it's kind of warm because the heater's on, so you can wear something over something. I don't know. Now I'm just not making sense. But I think this is a really cute piece. I just don't, it's not, what am I trying to say? Don't know really when I would wear this, but it's very cute, and I have worn it a few times. I think this would most likely be worn, like I could bring it to Hawaii, like when I go home for any reason. I think this would be really cute. Oh, this would be cute over like a dress, like just as a cover up for a dress, I think, because it is quite like dressy, especially with the color. Since it's a solid color, you could kind of match it with a lot of things. But yeah, this is the Azalea cardigan, and okay, and it was a test knit. Okay, next is actually another test knit and another short sleeve cardigan. So this is the Koran cardigan by Rebecca Clow, Crea Bea on Instagram and YouTube. And this was an all over lace cardigan. I chose to do the short sleeve round neck version. She also has a long sleeve and a V-neck version, but I test knit this version, and it is very airy, as you can see, because it's just all over lace. The stitch pattern was very easy to memorize, but I will say doing this much lace, I think just doing a lot of like knit two together or slip slip knit kind of hurts my hands. So this, I did have to take a break on a few times knitting through this, just because it is all over lace. But overall, it is, I think, very cute, very summery or spring, especially with the kind of orange color I chose. This was a cotton yarn. I think it was like a Bernat brand yarn that I had, and I thought using cotton would be good because it's like a very airy, open stitch pattern, and so it would be something I want to wear with a cooler feeling kind of yarn. I will say I think I should have sized up. It does fit a little tight on me, and especially at this neck, there is no way that I would be able to button this around my neck, so I would just wear it open and not have the buttons be a closure kind of thing. To be honest, I have only worn this a couple times after I finished knitting it, and I just haven't found another occasion to wear it for, so yeah. But I would consider actually making maybe a smaller, or not smaller, a bigger size of this, and maybe the long sleeve V-neck version, because I do think it looks really cute. But yeah, this version though I haven't worn too much, but it was a fine pattern, fine test knit, easy to knit lace pattern. So yeah, that is the Koran cardigan. Oh, next, hopefully future editing me will remember to put a picture of this, because I do not have this in my possession. So the next kind of cardigan I made is the Dawn to Dusk Shacket, which was another test knit, and this pattern was one of my favorite things that I knit. Sorry, I'm just looking here for, I want to look for details on this. This was a test knit, or the design is by Tiffany, who is Tiff Knit on Instagram. I believe. And it was a great knit. I love the final product of this, and again, I hope that I can have a picture of it on here. I used Rerum Natura Gilead, which is the worsted weight base, in the colorway Darjeeling, which was a brownish, light brown, like a yellowy brown color, and I love it so much. It was a huge project, but I loved it. The details on it were really great. There were some pleats, there was some like in the pattern, I believe she called it piping, but I think there might be like another word for it where you kind of like knit and then you kind of make a little bump, line bump thing in there. I love the details. It had a collar on top. The cuffs were really fun. There were buttons. The hem was really fun. It was a curved hem, and I love that knit. And the reason why I don't have it is because my mom also really liked the knit. So that same trip I was talking about earlier where she wore some of my knits, she also liked the Dawn to Dusk shacket, and so she took it home with her. But yeah, so I would actually love to make another one in a different color because I do love that pattern a lot. But I'm trying to resist because I want to make it in the same yarn base because I love how that yarn worked up for that pattern, which was the Rerum Natura Gilead yarn. But I would really love to use up more yarn in my stash before I buy more yarn, if at all possible. So going to try maybe save that re-knit of it, or just, second knit of it for maybe later in 2024, hopefully after I get through some yarn in my stash. But yeah, that is the Dawn to Dusk shacket. Next up is the Teddy Zip. Let me see, where did I put that? Okay, this was another big project. This is patterned by Joan. Let me see, where is the zipper on this? Oh, I have previously called her Joanne, but it might be Joan or Joanne. But hopefully the description will have all the details that you need on this pattern and design. Okay, this is the Teddy Zip. This was a boucle knit, and what I did for this project gave me kind of some problems. Had nothing to do with the design or the pattern, but it was me trying to pick yarn that was not the recommended yarn in the pattern. So I used the boucle yarn from Sorella in the colorway Sugar Mountain, which was a winter tonal, and I ended up holding that double. And so yeah, this whole thing is boucle held double. The gauge is huge, but the squish and that boucle-ness of it is just like really good. And I found some scrap yarn for the sleeve cuffs, which kind of matched the color like pretty okay, and so that was a nice surprise, and really glad I didn't have to buy yarn just to do like 2 sleeve cuffs, so that was great. I think this was the first time I had to sew in a zipper, like a full-length zipper, and so I was kind of intimidated by that, but it ended up working out. But it did make me kind of scared, and so I remember that this just kind of took me a while. Like after I knit it, I would knit parts of it. Actually, because I knit it with a different yarn combination, knit a whole bunch, and then I had to frog it all. Like I just frogged it all, recast on, and then I was like, not sure if it was going to work out, blah, blah, blah. And then I got rejuvenated for it, knit a whole bunch, and then I was like, got stuck on having to sew in the zipper, install the zipper. But then we got it done, so here, I just zipped it up so you can see it. It does have pockets here in the front on both sides, and yeah, I have worn this. I've worn this out. It is really bulky though, and so it's Not really something I would, if I wore it indoors, it might not be for too long because it does get very warm, but I've definitely worn it out and like with no other jacket on top because it is, again, bulky and pretty big. So number one, another jacket might not fit over it for me, but two, it almost didn't need another jacket over it as long as it wasn't raining, which sometimes, usually in Seattle, once it gets cold, that's also when it gets rainy, so it's hard to not wear a rain jacket outside, but on the rare occasions it's cold and not raining, this worked for me to wear as kind of like the main jacket over whatever other sweater or long sleeves that I'm wearing over. So this is a teddy zip. If I were to make this again, which honestly I probably wouldn't, like I like this, but I think it's good enough to just have one of these, I probably would make it, it's kind of big. Like I wish it was just a little smaller. I think my gauge is a little too big on this because the yarn was not the recommended yarn and it kind of grew a little bit after blocking, so I would maybe make it a little smaller next time if I do make it again, but I probably won't make it again. It is a very heavy knit. I do not put it in a drawer to store it because it would just take up like half the drawer. Or, I mean, that's an exaggeration, but it would take up so much of the drawer space for all my other knits that I just have it on top of something. Like, that's kind of like how big and bulky this is. But, yeah, I do try to bring this out to wear because it is very comfortable. The boucle is very comfortable. Just like a really nice, squishy, warm thing to have on, but it is a little hard to wear just because it's very bulky. But yeah, teddy zip. Okay. Oh, what is up next? Oh, okay, I have my Straya. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my notes organized here. Okay, Straya. That's next. Where is it? Okay. This is the Straya cardigan. The pattern is by Andrea Mowry. It is beautiful. I love it. It's so cute. And the yarn I used for this, the main color is ampersand fibers, which is from La Mercerie, which is a store on Bainbridge Island. And yeah, ampersand fibers. It was the fingering weight base, and which I forget what it's called, and I believe the color is Oat 01, which is a gray, really light brown gray color. And the stripes, I use the mini set from Explore Knits Seattle collection, the tonals, which I got when Explore Knits did their pop-up at La Mercerie, and I thought it was really fun to have a cardigan that kind of represented my trip to the Explore Knits pop-up because ampersand fibers is from La Mercerie and Explore Knits Seattle tonals. So I think it's really fun. I think the colors look really cute together. Here's the back. And it is, I think this was half fisherman's rib. So it was very similar to the birch. I think, oh my gosh, I don't remember if I finished this first or the birch pullover first because they were both very similar because they're, yeah, half fisherman's rib sweaters, although this is a cardigan. But I love this cardigan. It did kind of take some time to knit, but I was able to finish it in time. Well, I think with enough time, but I wore this to Flock Fiber Festival because I thought that would be fun too because it was in Seattle and Explore Knits was there. It is a good wearing cardigan, I think, in my opinion. I like the feel of the ampersand fibers yarn, which is, you know, the main color, and so it's kind of like the main drape of this cardigan, and so it feels hard wearing because I think it is a 100% Corriedale yarn. It is slightly scratchy. I don't really want to say scratchy, but like it is not like merino soft. It is soft, but it does have like this it is non-superwash, right? I think. So it is, okay, what I will say is if it's hot outside, and usually for me, and maybe for other people too, any kind of like yarn that might be slightly itchy or scratchy gets more itchy or scratchy when it's warm. If you're cold, I feel like I don't feel the itch at all. So when I wear this cardigan and it's cold, like it does not feel itchy to me. I really like the light and airiness of the yarn, but if it's kind of warm, it does kind of start to feel like, ooh, like kind of, you know, like itchy, or like I need to kind of like move stuff around. But anyway, I love this pattern. This year, I think I knit a whole bunch of Andrea Mowry patterns, and I've just been loving it. Yeah, this is the Straya, and yeah, it's been good. Okay, we're at, what is next? Okay, we've got four more cardigans. Okay, let's see. Next is the Kutar wrap. This was a test knit for Starry Nordlands. Here it is. It is so cute. The yarn I used for this, it was yarn. It was yarn. 2 yarn, both in the same colorway but different bases. It was Gumwall by Explorer Knits. I used the Denali sock fingering weight base plus the Surrey, both in the same colorway, which is such a cute pink. And if you know of Starry Nordland's pattern, she has a whole bunch of Kutar tops and sweaters that uses this lace pattern, and so this one was a wrap cardigan that has a tie like this, and so it's gonna be hard to like show how this looks. How do I show this? It's hard to show what the tie looks like on things unless you actually have it on a body, but let me just like try. I don't know. Actually, no, it's going to be too hard, but actually, no, here. I'm going to hold this up, and the idea is, actually, no, maybe this won't work, but this side goes in here. There's a hole in the back that goes around. I'm not going to put it through the hole, but then it ties in the front here. And remember, I told you that I love bows, and so, yeah, I just love that bow. I love wrap cardigans, even though I don't make enough of them, but yeah, kind of supposed to look like that. It's supposed to overlap, but you don't have to have the tie or have it wrap. You can just have it open as well if you want. My friend Sylvan also made, we were both in the test knit, and we used the same yarn color. I think she might have used a non-superwash fingering weight instead of the Denali sock, maybe. I think she used, it was slightly different, but we use the same colorways, and so we have matching Kutar wraps, which I think are so fun. And she did hers without the ties, and it also looks really cute without the ties. So yeah, but this is the Kutar wrap. It's very cute. I have worn this a number of times, and it's really fun to wear, I think, because I do like wrap cardigans. I think they look really cute, and they're really easy to wear with, like, usually how I wear this, I wear a tank top and then I wrap this over. And so, yeah, I've just been really liking this knit as well. Okay, and I love Surrey so much. Okay, next up, this project might have been the longest project. Well, no, I have some projects that I have not touched in like a year, so those would be more of the longer projects. But this one took me a long time that I've kind of been knitting on consistently. This is the Big Cozy Cardi by Andrea Mowry. Oh my gosh, this thing is ginormous. Where is the top? Okay. I mean, how do I even show this to you? Okay. Here is one arm, and I'm holding the top of the Surrey collar. So, Big Cozy Cardi by Andrea Mowry. The main yarn I use, oh my gosh, I don't remember the colorway name, but it is a Labie and Amy color. Oh, it's Jinju. And I use, it was a fingering weight base from La Mercerie. And the stitch pattern is really fun, it's really nice, but it's just like, it's massive. This project just felt way too long. I don't think I would make this again. I love this project, like this one in particular, but I just don't know if I'd make it again because it took so long. It's just a huge rectangle, which you then, fold in ways the pattern explains to get your armholes here. And then this massive Surrey collar that goes all the way around your neck and the sides of the body. The Surrey, I think, is Autumn and Ivy. Surrey, and I forget the colorway name. But I thought this was a good color pairing, and I love it. To be honest, though, it is a little hard to wear. I was hoping that it would be something that I love to wear just every day and put it on, but it is quite big. I think maybe after blocking it, maybe stretched a little bit bigger for my size, but it is something that is pretty fun to wear. But like, I can't like wash dishes with it on, because I feel like the arms kind of like go out really far under, so I would have to like take it off to like do the dishes or do some cooking. Also because the Surrey is like everywhere. So if I'm sitting and doing nothing, if I'm sitting and knitting, it's great to wear, but not really great to like do more stuff, active stuff with your arms in. But if you're just sitting and knitting, great cozy knit to wear. Yes, okay, so that is, do I try and fold this? I also don't know how to fold this because it's an interesting shape. But yeah, I don't regret making it, but I just don't think I would make it again, or at least anytime in the near future. Okay, let's try and fold this as best as we can. Ugh, there's so much knits. When I took out all my knits for this video, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so much. Okay. There is that. Okay, two more cardigans. Are you still with me? Okay. Next up, I think might be my most easy to wear cardigan. Sorry, I was just looking at my list to be like, is this true? I think that this cardigan is probably the one I get the most wear of because it kind of like matches with most things, very easy to wear, lightweight. This is my gown cardigan, Gaon, by Dalbodre on Instagram. And actually, let me just double check that, because if I forget to do some editing on this, I just want to make sure I got this right. Sumin on, that is the designer's name. And let's see, okay. Gown cardigan, I used Explorer-Knits yarn Denali sock in the colorway Drift. So it is maybe not like a color you would expect for me to make a whole like sweater / cardigan out of, but I really like it. I do think it matches with a lot of things. I love the stitch pattern. I think it's just a very classic look. It's a very simple and very clean look. It is I think it's a 3x1 rib stitch pattern. It is quite a long cardigan. I mean, it's not really long, but it is on the longer side. It's not like a cropped thing. It is kind of oversized. I think there might be maybe like 10 inches of positive ease for me on this. The button band is really wide, and I like that because you can get some really cute like big buttons for this. I really like the fit. It is drop shoulder. There is shoulder shaping. I thought the construction of this was really interesting and fun. Oh, there was seaming to be done on this, which was under the arms, but honestly, it didn't bother me too much. And it's like right here, and the way that the designer had it was so that when you do the mattress stitch for the seam, like you can't, it's supposed to be a continuous pattern with the stitch pattern, and I thought that was fantastic. Yeah, I actually did bring this home with me when I went home to Hawaii for the holidays, and I wore this all the time. It was, yeah, it's really great. I have been wearing this a lot, and yeah, I think this might be my most worn cardigan out of the cardigans that I've knit in this past year. Yeah. So the gown cardigan, and then last cardigan, which I think is my favorite thing that I have knit in 2023, but it's hard because every time I finish a knit, I feel like it's one of my favorites, and I did finish this, I think in December, so, it's a recent knit, but I do think it's one of my favorite things I've, ever knit. This is my pressed flowers cardigan. Here it is. I've worn it in my past 2 podcast videos, so maybe that already goes to show how much I love it. Okay, I still did not sew buttons on it, but we're going to ignore that fact. But look at it. It's one of my favorite things. I think the color combinations are so good. And part of the reason I love this so much too is because the contrast color for this is a hand spun. So the contrast colors, which is the colors that were used for the flowers, and as you can see is color changing, is hand spun from Nest Fiber, and it was the Paper Kites colorway in the superfine merino fiber base, so it's super soft. I just love the colors that are in it. Of course, there's pink in it, and so I love that, but I just love all the blues and yellows and purple, orange that are in there as well. Look how crazy it looks on the inside. And I think part of what makes this feel really nice on the inside too is because it is super fine merino and kind of the floats on the inside, I can feel that super fine merino. The main color for this, which was the dark green, is a Durum Natura Ulyss base, sport weight, in the colorway 4A. I just think it's a great color pairing, and it's just so good. I love how it feels. I love the fit, and it's just so pretty and fun to look at. Yeah, I do think that this is one of my favorite knits I've ever made. Yeah, wow, look at that. It is mosaic knitting, and so thankfully it's slightly different than color work. You only work with one color at a time, which was fantastic. So yeah, it was great. It was really fun to knit, and I'm so happy it's done. I just need to sew the buttons on it, but that hasn't stopped me from wearing it. As soon as I got back home from my trip, I put this on. Because it was, much colder here in Seattle than it is in Hawaii. I was like, ooh, I'm cold, and I reached for this right away. So it's a very good warm knit, and I love it. Oh, the Pressed Flowers cardigan by Amy Christophers, Savory Knitting on Instagram, I believe. Okay, so, and that is the last cardigan that I made in 2023. Okay, next category. We are on to, let's go to the tank tops, shirts, vests category. I have 14 of these. I know maybe I could have split out the vest into something else, but I was they're all kind of short sleeve kind of tops, and so we're just putting them all in one. But I have 14 of them to share with you. So let's start with, where'd it go? Okay, we're gonna start with the Chantilly vest. Again, I am doing this in, like, each category is in order of when I finished them last year. So Chantilly vest. Here it is. You can see, oh my gosh, the fold line right in the middle. So yeah, you can probably tell I haven't worn this very recently. But okay, Chantilly vest. Yarn. Okay, wait. Pattern by Penrose Knits. Yarn is Sorella. I think the colorway is Edith. And I used the fingering weight, a fingering weight base, and Surrey. And the way that this pattern is constructed is there's some sections where I think the whole body is actually fingering held double plus one strand of Surrey. And then there's some sections where I think it is, maybe the collar is one strand of fingering, one strand of Surrey, and then the ruffly bit here is just the Surrey, I think held single. At least I did held single, because I think the original pattern is using not Surrey, but mohair. I think that this came out really cute. It is exactly how I wanted this to come out, like a light pink vest that has a collar and some little ruffle. And I remember being kind of worried about the ruffly bit, because in some people's pictures I thought the ruffle looked too ruffly, and I wanted mine to just be like a light ruffle. I didn't want it to look too long. So I definitely was when I made the collar for this, I was very conscious about the length of the ruffle part and also the collar part. I think I might have shortened it by just a couple rows, if I'm not mistaken. I did not take any notes on how many stitches I picked up for the ruffle, but I think whatever it was, I picked up the right amount so that it wasn't too ruffly, but it still had the ruffle, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't look too flat, but it also doesn't look dramatically ruffly. The fit is really great, and I would wear it, I think the way that I was wearing it is with a long sleeve white long sleeve under it, and I would have this over, and it's very cute. I think that the white long sleeve was the only long sleeve I had, so it was kind of the only way I could wear it. But I did buy more long sleeve shirts over Christmas break that hopefully could pair well with more vests, because I would like to knit more vests and to wear my vests more. So yeah, I remember wanting to make I think that Penrose Knits has a cardigan version of this, like with the collar, and so I considered making that as well. But yeah, I think the vest was a good option, just so I can have something cute with the ruffly collar. So yeah, that is the Chantilly vest. I haven't worn it recently, as you can tell, because there's a huge fold line in the middle. But now that I have it out, because I kind of forgot about it, but now that I have it out, I'll probably keep it out so that I remember it and I can wear it sometime soon. Okay, so that is the Chantilly vest. Next is the Uptown tee. Okay. This was a test knit for Tori Knits NYC on Instagram, and the yarn I used is Explore Knits Denali Sock in Extra Sprinkles, which was from the Ice Cream Social collection in 2022 maybe. And so it looks like ice cream. It looks like sprinkles. I don't know how she did all of the rainbow speckles like that, but it is so cute. And this pattern is a tee, and the sleeves are this open lace pattern, and it's really fun. I thought it paired really nicely with this yarn color. And yeah, it's very lightweight, very easy to wear, and The only thing for me was that, again, like the Koran cardigan that had an all-over lace pattern, when I was working through the sleeves here, it did kind of hurt my hands, like my wrists to work it, which is so strange. I don't know why that started happening, but yeah, I think it is the knit to or slip knit that just for some reason hurts my hands if I do it too much. Maybe I'm just like really tense about it. So yeah, that was just the one thing about it, but overall it is really well, or it went really well. I do like wearing this, but definitely more in the warmer months and not during the colder months. But yeah, so that is the Uptown tee. Next is the Color Tip tee by Emily Curtis. Okay, here it is. It is so cute. Now, there are fold lines on this, but trust me, I have been wearing this quite a lot ever since I finished knitting it. I love wearing this. It's so easy to wear, so easy to put on and like match with stuff. The yarn I use for this is, the main color is Lavender Fiberco. And I forget the colorway name, but it's so hard to get this color to show, but it is this really pastel variegated color, and it's like really light blue, yellow, and pink. Maybe you can tell it's not like completely solid. I mean from far away, but in some lighting here I think you can see the pink and blue. And I think it matches so well with the contrast colors I chose for the different parts of this tee, which are minis. I used some minis from Sorella, and I think it was the summer tonals. So I don't remember the names of them off the top of my head. But yeah, the hem, sleeve, cuff, the pocket, kind of like hem, and the collar were minis from Sorella's summer collection. This tee is so cute. It fits really nicely. This was also another test knit. It went really well, and I want to make another one. I just don't know what yarn I would make it in, but I want to make another one. This has been getting a lot of wear though, and yeah, very happy with this knit. Okay, next. Sunset Camisole. Number 1, because I made 2 of these. Okay, so this was another test knit. This was for Nordland. And this is the first one I made. This was a sport weight yarn, 100% baby alpaca. I think the base name is Sailing Sport from Paisley Knits. And I forget the colorway name, but it is from her Japan collection. It is this really pretty pink and purple and blue variegated yarn, and it's so like watercolory and soft because it is on the alpaca base. And this is a tank, as you can see, that has a diagonal ruffle across the front, which I think is so fun. And yeah, this was a very like easy knit, mostly stockinette. Oh, it has a folded hem at the bottom with like that pearl bump right at the bottom where you fold, and the ruffle is added on after you finish the whole tank. So the only thing that I thought was maybe just a little bit hard to do for this tank is figuring out what your pickup stitch rate is to make this ruffle. So I've kind of mentioned, and I will talk about it again when I show you my second version, but this is my first version, and I think that I did not pick up enough stitches, especially near the top here, because it looks kind of like a flat panel most of the way. I think down here it looks a little better, but up here it's a little flat, so I should have picked up more stitches, but it's really hard to figure out what that rate is, and also because it's on a diagonal, you kind of just have to eyeball it. I believe the instructions, tell you to kind of like put in like a guiding line with another piece of yarn to help you, but it really is kind of like you trying to figure it out yourself. So, but yeah, I still like this. I, again, don't really wear this as much, during the winter months or, the cold months. But because of the ruffle, it's also not something you can really wear, like, I guess you could wear a cardigan over it, but because of the ruffle, it kind of makes it bulky if you were to wear something, like, right over it. But, I mean, you can. But, yeah, there's just extra bulk because of the ruffle, so I feel more like this should be worn, like, by itself. But, yeah, it's very cute, and I like it a lot. Just haven't worn it recently because it's been cold. Okay, so in between making that first version and the second one, I did make the stripy turtle tank, which is a pattern by Emily Curtis. And I have it here. Here it is. So again, it is a tank top, and so I haven't really been wearing it too much. I think I could wear it as a vest though, so I could wear it with a long sleeve under it, which I should consider doing. But yeah, this is stripy turtle tank. This is my first one. I have yarn to make another one. I just haven't done it yet. And I love the color choices on this. I think I might have been... okay, so part of the color choice for this... Actually, how did it... I'm going to look up my notes for this just to make sure that I got this right. So the main color for this... Oh, yes, okay. The main color for this is... Okay, all of the yarn colors from this are from Woolberry. The main color is Berry Cashmere Base, fingering weight, in the colorway White Way of Delight. So all of these colors are from the Anne of Green Gables collection. So the main color is White Way of Delight, and then all of the stripes, which I think, how many stripes are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors are from, I got a mini set from the Anne of Green Gables collection, and so all 5 of these colors were part of that mini set from the collection, the tonals, and I think it all looks really nice together. I didn't realize until after that these colorways all kind of look very similar to a version that Emily also made, and so I feel like we're kind of twinning with this color palette, but it's really cute. It works really well. I'm really happy because I'm always scared with multiple colors of stripes and a main color that it'll look nice together, but I think this works out really well, and I like it a lot. I want to make another one, and yeah, so that is the stripy turtle tank. And oh, I will say though, there were so many ends to weave in for this. I think, you could do some kind of method where you don't have to weave in that many ends, or you just tie it together and just like cut it, but I just really like weaving, or I don't like weaving in ends, but I like my ends to be woven in, so yeah, but once I sit down, put my mind to it, and just weave them in, it was all good. It took some time, but I'm very happy with the end product of it. So yeah, so this is the stripy turtle tank, and then next up, as promised, I have my second sunset camisole. This is, yeah, look at this. Okay, I made some changes from my first one just slightly. So one thing is, this one I made using a fingering weight yarn. This is Explore Knits Denali Sock in Pike Place, which is this really cute bright red color. And this is like, I think, my first red garment, and I was unsure about it, but I actually love it. So yeah, because the recommended yarn for this pattern is sport weight, I decided to size up because my gauge was smaller with the fingering weight yarn, and I think that this actually worked out really well for me sizing wise. I like the sizing for this. This was a knit with my Seattle friends because a lot of us got the Pike Place yarn from Explore Knits and planned to knit something with it to wear at Flockfire Festival, and so there are group pictures of us all wearing our Pike Place tops. And one thing that you will notice, a change that I made for this, was the ruffle. I made this more ruffly. I made sure to pick up more stitches than the last time. And more stitches in terms of like, well, definitely more in total number, but also more in frequency. So like, I don't remember the exact pickup rate that I did, but you know, instead of like, I don't know, every other, which I definitely didn't do for the other one, but instead of like every other, it was like every 3 out of 4 kind of thing. So it is more roughly. I will show you now the comparison from my first one. Actually, what's the best way? My first ruffle and my second ruffle. So I do like the more ruffle version. I don't know. I think this was perfect. If I made it more ruffly, I think it might look kind of weird. And this one's okay too, but I definitely would. Yeah, the reason why I picked up more is because I wanted more ruffle in my first one, or compared to my first one. So there it is. I felt really good about using a red yarn for this pattern because Sari Nordland's original version, I think, was using a red. And just seeing it in a red version, I felt very confident that it would look good in this red, and I was right. I think it looks really cute with the red. Okay, and then, oh no, I thought I was done. Of course we're not done. I have 14 things to talk about. We might be about halfway though. Okay, next up is my Luna tee. This is by Charissa, I believe, CL Knits on Instagram. And I've been wanting to make this top for a while. I just didn't know what yarn to make it with. And then I had this idea to make this with, I think it's Pig Patootie from Woolberry, the Caboose collection. And she was doing, she had this idea, or someone brought to her this idea that people who are going to Flock Fiber Festival, we could all knit something with the Caboose yarn and then take a group picture with everyone at Flock. So this was my choice. It was Pig Patootie, which is a variegated pink colorway, and I made this top. I really liked the ribbing, broken ribbing, I don't know, this ribbing pattern on it. I liked how that shaping for like this part looked like between the arm and the body. And it is short sleeve. I don't know, I just really liked how it looked. The design of this looked. So yeah, wanted to make this. It fits really nicely. And the only thing was that the instructions for the decreasing under the arm was kind of confusing. I think since then she has updated the pattern, although I haven't looked at the updated instructions, but I kind of just fudged it. It was not a test knit, so I'm okay. And it was also under the arm, which no one's really going to look at, so I thought it was okay. And for the body, I just did the straight version. I think she has also decreases for the body if you want as well, but I wanted mine to just be straight down. But yeah, kind of has a neck here as well, but it wasn't too itchy for me. Sometimes if the neck gets really too high, I don't like it, but this is actually okay. So I would consider making this again in maybe like a non-variegated yarn, like a tonal color, so that the stitch kind of pops out even more. But yeah, this is the Luna tee by Charissa, or Carissa. Okay, next up we got the Neptune top. Oh, it's under a pile here. Oh, okay. So Neptune top, I'm just double checking here. Okay, Neptune top was a test knit for Sari Nordland. Here it is. And if you just looked at it like this, it kind of looks like a drawstring bag, which I think is really funny. But on a person, it looks very cute. And what other? I mean, it is kind of like a drawstring. Like the I-cord like straps are holding the front. It's like strung through the front and back. The back has a really cute like opening on the back, which I think is, yeah, it's just like a cute design thing. Let me see, yeah, if I hold it like this. Yeah, I don't think I've knit anything with this kind of like fit before, and so I thought it was really cute. I think if I were to knit this again next time, I think my armholes go a little lower than I want to, or would like it to, because it kind of just goes, I don't want it to show like anything, like a bra strap or anything, so yeah, next time I make it, I would want to kind of like make the armholes connect a little higher up. But other than that, I really like the design. I think it's really cute. Oh, the yarn I used is Explore Knits Denali Sock in the colorway Roma. And yeah, I think it's a really cute color, very orangey. I love how the variegation looks in stockinette. Actually, I like how Explore Knits variegated looks. I don't know how they dye their yarn to get it to look like this, but it looks great. And yeah, this is the Neptune top. I think it'd be really cute to make this in a tonal as well. I know that this past year actually was a lot of, if I make something in a variegated, I was like, oh, I'd love to have it in a tonal. And if I made something in a tonal, I was like, I would love to have it in a variegated. So we will see if I ever remake this again. I would probably consider making it again when it becomes summer or in the warmer months, just because that is when I feel like the most motivated, I think, to make tees and tanks. But yeah, so this was the Neptune top by Sari Nordland. And then we have Totally Tank Top. Oh, one more thing. The Neptune top. I was really excited about this because I wore this to the summer market, Explore Knits summer market, and so that was just kind of like a fun thing to wear, and like wear an Explore Knits yarn thing to an Explore Knits event. Okay, next is the Totally Tank Top. The pattern is by, oh my gosh, I should know this, but my brain is not working. It is by Jessie May. And the yarn is Explore Knits Denali Sock in the colorway Grapefruit, which is yarn that I got from the Explore Knits summer market. And it's just, oh, you can see the fold lines. It's not something I've worn recently because, again, it's definitely a warmer weather knit to wear. But this is what it looks like. It is a racer back, which I really like. I think it looks really cute. Like, this construction's very cute, like for the back. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I knit this pretty much to pattern. I maybe made the body longer because I don't like anything really, really cropped, and so I made it longer. I know some people for this neck, they opt to do a ribbed neck to match the arm. Yeah, the arm opening. But I did what is in the sample for this, which is a folded, oh no, not a folded, oh my gosh, it's a stockinette. It's a curled, oh my gosh, is this, I know that there's a name for it, but it's stockinette, and then you just let it curl and do its thing. And so it has that. I think that, so I want to make this again. I think it is a good, close to 1 skein knit. I did have to use a very small amount. And by very small amount, I think the last 2 rounds of my ribbing on the body is how much more I needed of my second skein of this. But I would want to make this again for the smaller amounts of yarn that I have like in my stash. I would probably, maybe I could save some yarn so that I could really make this with 1 skein by, I think the pickup for this, for the neck, the rolled neck it was too much. I think it was 1 for every stitch. And so I really kind of had to block this so that it didn't get curly, and I I refused to rip it out, which maybe I should have, but I would pick up less stitches for the neck next time to kind of keep it more tight and in, because I also don't want it to be super low on my neck. Actually, it's kind of okay, but yeah, next time I will pick up less stitches for the neck, around the neck. But overall, I really like the construction. I thought the shaping in the back was very interesting, especially like up here. And it's just a very cute summer knit to have. I love this color. I still have more of this color in my stash and in more different bases, so I'm excited to work with this color some more. So that is the Totally tank top. And then Moonset Tee was my next one. Here it is. This one took me a while to finish because it was just stockinette forever on the body, and the sleeves felt like they were taking forever even though they are short sleeves. But this is a Moonset Tee by Ozetta, and the yarn I used, can you tell by the speckling and how amazing that is? It is from Coast to Coast yarn in the colorway Red Panda, and it is such a great color. I use a fingering weight base for this. Here's the back. The speckles are just amazing. I love the colors. I love the color on this, and yeah, a very simple, basic tee, but with, you know, the fun kind of V-neck overlap in the rib section that the Moonset kind of series has. And yeah, I really like wearing this. I like that the V isn't too low. It's a good staple piece. Again, this is one where I would love to make this or have this in a tonal color as well, but it did take me so long to knit just because I kept putting it off. Oh, I remember. I think part of it is because I decided to do helical knitting for this, and even though helical knitting isn't necessarily hard once you figure out how to do it, it just wasn't a pick up and just knit and not have to think. Like, you know, every round you kind of have to do the switching of the yarn. You have to make sure the two balls of yarn don't get tangled, and sometimes I just didn't want to deal with that, so that is why it kind of took me some time. It is also fingering weight, lots of stitches, so, but glad that it got done in 2023 so that I could wear it. So yeah, I do get a lot of wear with this one. It's very, very good piece. I like it. But yeah, I'm mostly just glad it's done because I like the end product. The making it just felt a little long. Okay. Let's see, what is next? We're almost there. Okay. This is the May Drop Tee. It is so cute. I love the fit on this. I think for me the biggest thing about this knit was that the fit was so nice. And yeah, this pattern is by Emma Bloom Create on Instagram. The fit is fantastic on this. It's hard to maybe see, or, you know, it's not something I would have expected. I guess it's hard to tell if it's going to fit well on you until after you're done with it and you block it and you wear it. But the fit is so great. I think that there was a lot of attention and detail put in to the fit, and you can definitely tell with this. And for the shaping, and yeah, I really like this drop tee. The V-neck is really nice because, again, it's not too low, and the color work on the bottom is also very cute. So for this, I used, the main color is from Lobby and Amy. It is, and I will have to look this up hopefully really quickly. It is Lobby and Amy Merino Twist Base, fingering weight base, in the colorway Autumn Hydrangea, which I think was their Flock colorway from Flock Fiber Festival. I think La Mercerie still sells this colorway, but I think it's really cute in this tee. I really like the colors, the variegation and the speckles. And then the contrast color was some hand-dyed yarn that I had, which is just a very like pale pink fingering weight yarn. Yeah, and so I think it looks really cute together. And yeah, that is the May drop tee. I, again, have not been wearing it too much recently, but in the warmer months, I've put it on quite a bit because, yeah, I just love the fit and I love how it looks and how it feels. Okay, then we've got the best vest. So this is, I guess, my second vest this year. Let me hold it up. It's pretty big. I was expecting it to be oversized and big, but my one thing on it is that, like, I was on gauge, and actually my gauge is a little small, so the measurements for this are actually smaller than the pattern states for this size. I made the smallest size. The armholes on this are ginormous. So if I hold this up, the v-neck is low, but this is kind of meant to be worn with wearing something on the inside, so it's not that bad. Like, this v-neck is fine, but it's the armholes for this. Like, my arm actually ends, the bottom of my arm is right here. And if you're looking at the sweater I'm wearing, the armholes for this sweater I'm wearing are also oversized. So that makes this vest armhole, like, really big. Like, I think my waist is, like, right here. So, I mean, the armholes are kind of big. I mean, again, it's not like it's going to show anything because I will be wearing, like, a long sleeve shirt under it, but it's just the arms are pretty big. That's my only thing about this pattern. But I do like, I like the flow, like, I like the oversizedness, except for the fact that the armholes are so big. The shaping on this was great, though. Like, as you can see, like, for the neck ribbing, like, in the back, just so that it kind of sits closer to your neck, there are some, like, decreases done in the ribbing there. And the other thing, too, is, like, this colorway is fantastic. I love this yarn so much. I love how it looks. This yarn is from Big Little Yarn Co. It is from the one of the Studio Ghibli collections. I think it's the colorway is Maggio, which I think is from the Kiki's delivery service. Like, colorway. I love the purple. There's so much depth and, like, different colors in the purple. It's gorgeous. I love the colors. So I will still be wearing this, but I was kind of disappointed in the end product. Again, I will wear it, but I'll mostly just keep my arms down while I wear this because it doesn't look so great around the armholes. But everything else looks fine. It is a very long vest. Like, I'm trying to tippy toe right now. My belly button's, like, right here. So it's a very long vest, and I am okay with a long vest. I'm okay with it being wide. It's just the armholes were kind of big. But I'm still going to wear this vest because I like the color. And I'll just get over the armholes, maybe. So I'm still kind of on the hunt for a good, like, vest pattern. Preferably, I was going to say preferably on the oversized side, just not big armholes. I don't know. But yeah, I'm still on the lookout for a staple v-neck vest. Actually, it doesn't have to be v-neck either, but I don't knit that many vests, and so I'm not super surprised that I haven't found, like, a great one yet. But yeah, again, I'm still going to wear this, but I still want to try experiment with making more vests to find one that I really, really like. Okay, two more tops to talk about in this category. Air Tee. This is another Ozetta. Oh, Best Vest pattern was by James & Watts. That was also my first pattern from James & Watts. So, don't know how the rest of their patterns fit, but yeah, that was my first pattern from them. Okay, so next up, Air Tee by Ozetta. here we go. It is another fingering weight tee, which means it also took me some time to finish this, and for a very similar reason as my moonset tee, because I did do helical knitting to alternate skeins. But the yarn for this, I use Big Little Yarn Co. It was a like organic wool linen base, which is the first time I used that base, and the colorway is Nudie Kabe, which is a pinkish tan pink and blue variegated colorway. Also love how the yarn turned out for this and the color. It drapes really nicely. It feels really nice during the warmer months, I think because of the linen in it, and I like the top of the back detail where it is actually knit sideways over here, and then you pick up to knit the body down. I think it's really cute. Again, it's another great staple piece that you can just wear whenever. The fit is really nice, and again, it's something I would love to have in a solid color as well, or in a tonal, but I will have to wait until I'm ready for that, because it is a fingering weight tee, and for some reason these feel like they take way longer to knit than like full-on sweater. Don't know why. Maybe it's the gauge. Maybe the gauge is small. I haven't like really looked that up and did a comparison, but it's a great looking piece that fits nicely, and that I do wear often when I want to wear a tee. So yeah, this is the Air tee. And then, okay, the last top, or last tank top that I made last year, which I finished right before New Year's, I think around very close to, is the Juno top, which is right here. I actually wore this in my last podcast episode, and I love it. This is another knit, though, that I think I started in the summer, and I didn't finish. I did not touch it for a very long time, and I thought, I want to try and finish things. I knew I wasn't going to finish all of my projects before the end of the year, but I wanted to try and finish the things I could finish by the end of the year, and this was one of them. And I am very happy with the end result. I think it is very cute. It came out exactly like how I wanted it to. The stitch pattern is very cute. It's like a twisted rib, but it alternates a twisted rib with like a Dutch braid, I think is what the designer calls it. Oh, the designer is Knit, or Inez. I think Inez is her name, and on Instagram she's Knit. And this is the strappy version of the Juno top. The original is a strapless version, and I thought I would get a lot more wear out of one that has straps. And the other part of this pattern that I really liked, and is what drew me to this pattern, is the scalloped edging. I love the scallop edging around the neck and the armholes. I think it's very cute. They are crocheted though, so it's very easy to figure out, but yeah, just as a warning. I almost forgot to bring a crochet hook with me because I finished this on my trip. I'm so glad I read through the instructions and like thought it out. I was like, oh my gosh, I need a crochet hook to finish this. So yeah, also there is some bust shaping here. So you can see there's like short rows, and so there's kind of like that line here, which I think I was kind of scared about to do, but the instructions were really good. I think she actually had to make an update on it because for some sizes and for like depending on the version you do, the beginning of round was kind of weird, but I figured it out and we're all good. It fits really nicely. The strappy version is supposed to be slightly looser than the strapless because, you know, it doesn't have to like hold itself up on you because you have the straps. So yeah, I would like to make this again, but probably not anytime soon since it did kind of take me a while to finish this from start to end, but only because I took a huge break on it. But I do like this top. Oh, the yarn I used for this is Explore Knits Denali Sock in the colorway Thistle, which is a really great color. I love it. I think it works well for this pattern too, or this design. Whew. Okay, I'm gonna take a water break really quick. All right, we are on to our bigger category now, which is, oh my gosh, are we on our last category? Sweaters. I have 19 sweaters to talk about. So let me just get like readjusted here and then I will be right back. Okay, time for the sweaters, the biggest category that I have. Is that right? Yes, it's the biggest category that I have. So let's get started. Okay, the first sweater that I finished in 2023 is the Soho blouse. This was a test knit for Kadri. And this one was a Surrey sweater. I held 2 strands of Surrey. And the yarn I used for this was Paisley Knits Surrey base in the colorway Kyoto, I think. And it is a really softly variegated gray and kind of pinky, like really subtle gray pink colorway, and I loved it so much. I have this colorway in like multiple bases. Also, if I got the colorway name wrong when I said it, it should be on the screen somewhere. But I love this colorway so much, and it looks so pretty in the Surrey base. Again, so I held this double, Surrey double. This was a garter stitch v-neck sweater, top down, I-cord edging, and kind of like a slip stitch detail on the sides. I think that this helped it to not grow so much because it is garter stitch, and so that was really nice. Kind of like a reinforced edge. So the only thing with working this in the round, so at the top part when you're working flat in garter stitch, that means that you're knitting every row, and that's great. But also, hello camera, focus on me. When you're working garter stitch in the round, you are purling every other round, and so that was kind of like the thing for this. That also meant when you picked up for the sleeve, which is worked into round, you are purling every other round, but I didn't find it to be too bad. So yeah, this is just a nice, I love Surrey sweaters. I love Surrey sweaters that are Surrey held double. So having this pattern kind of like in my list of patterns was really great to add like a textured, so for me, this was like a garter stitch version of the Petite Knit Cumulus blouse, which I have also knit with Surrey held double. So it's nice to have another version or a different version of a Surrey v-neck, but have garter stitch instead of stockinette stitch. So yeah, so that was my first sweater finished in 2023. And yeah, my Surrey sweaters have been getting a lot of wear recently because it's so soft and it's cold right now, and so it's been really great. Okay, next up is my Aurelia pullover. Ooh, all right, look at this. The cables and baubles on this are fantastic. That's the front. This is the back. The raglan detail is so pretty. Even the sleeves have cables going down all the way down the sleeve. I used a Sorella yarn for this in the Cashmere DK base, and I am forgetting the colorway name off the top of my head, but it is this really gorgeous brown, caramel brown, and yeah, I think it worked up really nicely. The fit is great. I think I made the smallest size, and I was considering making the second size, because I usually like more positive ease in my sweaters. This might have maybe like something like 3 inches of positive ease on me, but I think that that was the recommended. And so I was like, I'm just going to go with the recommended, and I think it worked out well because it is, I think it looks nice with a slightly more fit for this like all over cable bobble sweater. Although I think it could look cute oversized as well. But thankfully, I was also like, oh, it's all over cable. So if I could do the smaller size, that might be nice. So I have less stitches to work on. But yeah, I think this is a beautiful sweater, beautiful pattern. I love it so much, and I have been wearing it a good amount because it's gorgeous. I want to wear it all the time. And it is, since it's a DK weight sweater, like I do need to like wait for it to be pretty cold to wear it, and it has been cold lately, and so I have been wearing it. And because it is in a cashmere base, it's very soft. So, or well, you know, it's not all cashmere. It's like 10% cashmere, but you can tell it is pretty soft. So yeah, I've been enjoying wearing this recently, and it'll definitely be in rotation for the sweaters that I choose to wear. Okay, next up is the, oh, did I say the Aurelia pullovers by Sari Nordland? Okay, the next up is the Serene sweater. It is a kind of like loose turtleneck sweater. Is this the front? I think it's the front. It is an oversized sweater, long sleeves. It has a rolled hem and sleeve cuffs. And the yarn I used for this is Woolberry. It is a fingering weight held with Surrey, and I believe the colorway is Bouquet. And it is really pretty. I think it's a really great staple, like loose fitting, oversized sweater. Yeah, I really like the oversizedness of this. The sleeves are very long on me, and I normally don't like things really around my neck unless it's like a scarf. I don't like tight turtlenecks, but this one is nice because it's loose, but it's still kind of like, so it kind of drapes down, but yeah, so this is totally fine. And because it is Surrey, it is very soft as well, so it doesn't feel scratchy. But yeah, I like the drape of this sweater. I like the fit. I remember this feeling like it took a long time to knit just because it is pretty big, even though it is like a DK weight since it's fingering held with Surrey. But yeah, I really like it. I think this pattern is by Kadri. And yeah, it's just simple. Stockinette all around. And yeah, it's a good one. I have been wearing this. It is, I would say that this is part of like kind of like the rotation of things that I tend to wear throughout the week, and it is a very cozy knit. So yeah, this has been getting a good amount of wear during the cold months. Okay, oh, next up. This one's exciting because this was my crochet, my one crochet knit, my one crocheted garment this year. This is the Kelly crew neck. The pattern is by Alexi, Two of Wands, and this was like in collaboration with Sorella when she had her Autumn in New York collection. And I made it with Sorella yarn sport weight in the colorway, I think it's called Jazz in the Park, which as you can see is a very variegated color. Green, brown, blue, and pink. And yeah, it is my first ever crochet sweater. It took me a while to make. I kept missing stitches. I think for me with crochet, I feel like I need to count every single row because I will always like miss a stitch somewhere. So there was a lot of times I just had to rip back because I missed a stitch somewhere. But, you know, we got through it. We got to the end. I did have to, I think that seaming was done. Oh yeah, the construction on this was very interesting because I forget if it was the back or the front, but you start like at the bottom and you work flat this way up and over, and then do the, I believe that, yeah, then you do the front shaping and then down, so you have to seam the sides together. Sleeves were also worked flat, and so you do have to seam all the sleeves, and I don't know how to really seam crochet, and I was too lazy to look it up, so I just made it up. So you can definitely see there's a seam, but like it's fine. I will say the fit on this is great. I for sure had to gauge swatch for this because, again, I've never crocheted like a sweater for myself, so I did not know how much my gauge was. Like, does it grow? I don't even know how my gauge is with crochet. I've realized I had to size down. My hook size for this, I think my crochet is pretty loose. So I'm glad I gauge swatched for this. And yeah, it was a good, I think, first crochet sweater. I like the fit on this. It is oversized, and I have worn this a few times. I kind of forgot about this, if I'm going to be honest, during the cooler months, since I have made a lot more sweaters more recently that I've been wearing. But now that I see it again, I do think that I will pull it out more often. And I think that with the crochet stitch, it is a bit more like see-through or more like holey. So I would probably wear this with like a tank top or something under it, but that's not uncommon for me to wear a tank top under sweaters, and so that's not really, a big deal. But yeah, this was my first ever crochet sweater. I don't really have plans on making another crochet sweater anytime soon, but if a cute pattern comes out, I am not opposed to crocheting another garment or sweater. Actually, yes, I need to clarify. I recall crocheting a tank top the year before. So this isn't my first crochet garment, but this is my first crochet sweater, like long sleeve sweater. Okay. Next, also apologies if the lighting keeps coming in and out. The sunlight is now disappearing from outside, so I don't have natural sunlight anymore, and so I'm trying to use the light that's coming from my computer. So hopefully it's okay. Okay, next up is where is it? Ugh. Okay, next up is my loop sweater. This pattern is by Sorella. The yarn is also from Sorella. It is the boucle base, and I think the colorway is Breckenridge. It is a gray color. I think this was my first boucle sweater. I know I think it's my first sweater. I made the teddy zip that I talked about. I don't know in timeline to this sweater when I finished that, but that it was more of a jacket. This is a sweater. So yeah, I think this is my first boucle sweater. I love this. The pattern was a little bit disappointing, kind of confusing. The stitch counts were a little off, but because I've made sweaters previously and I understood the construction for this, this was a circular yoke construction. I was able to figure it out and be okay with the stitch counts. And it honestly, it fits well. I like the end product. This is what it looks like. It's a very simple construction, but I think it worked out really well to do a circular yoke for boucle, because then you don't have to worry about picking up stitches. Like if you did a drop shoulder, right? But maybe raglan would also work for boucle, except it'd be hard to see maybe where to do. Anyway, I don't know. But circular yoke made sense because you don't have to pick up stitches to do the armholes because you already have them on hold. I guess the only place you have to pick up stitches was for the neckline, which I ended up doing in I-cord. Must have been an I-cord, but that was fine to do. Yeah, because I think the sleeves are also I-cord and the body is I-cord. But yeah, I really like this sweater. I remember just being really excited about the end product and really happy with how it felt. It's very comfortable. I was like, after this, I was like, I like boucle. It's a little hard to work with, but it's something I could deal with to get the end product. And yeah, I really liked it. I think I only needed 3 skeins to make this, and I didn't use up all of my 3rd skein either, so I was very surprised with the amount of yarn that boucle you can knit up with. So yeah, so this is my loop sweater. I do get a good amount of wear out of my loop sweater. Okay, next step is my double date sweater. I do have to look up some details for this really quickly. Okay, so next up is my double date sweater. Here it is. It is a oversized sweater. It is by Winter's Weather Knits, and the yarn I used for this, I used 4 different colorways. They are all Sorella Cashmere DK base. The main color is Napa, which you can see mostly here in the collar, which is a speckly, kind of variegated. I know the lighting now is getting kind of weird, so sorry for that, but it is a variegated purple, green. It's kind of like the variegated version of all my tonals on this, and the other tonals are Wine Bottle Green, The Last Glass, and Psalm, which are used for these really cool stripe sections there. Yep. And let's see, what do I remember about this? Okay, so it is very oversized. I think this does give me like 10 inches of positive ease, or maybe 11. I think the one thing for me, and this could be because my gauge was possibly a tad big, the armholes are pretty big, like right here. They're really big, but thankfully as long as I don't feel any bulk when I put my arm down, it's like okay with me. But I do remember, because I do wear this pretty often because I do like the big, cozy kind of feeling of the sweater, and it's cashmere, or has cashmere in the yarn, so it is soft. It's a good oversized sweater to kind of wear over anything. Because it's so big, the good thing is I can wear it over t-shirts. So sometimes I don't like wearing t-shirts under sweaters because I don't like the sleeve to get all bunched up, but because the armholes are so big, they don't get bunched up, so that is kind of like a plus for this sweater. But yeah, so this is the double date sweater. Oh, I remember that I was worried about, I might have run out of my main color because I did add an extra row on the body. So for the sleeve cuffs, I just made it one of my contrast colors, which I think is really cute. So yeah, so that is the double date sweater. Okay. Let's put that there. Okay, next up is birch pullover. I think that this is probably one of my most worn sweaters of 2023, and probably for the future of forever. The birch pullover is a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and I used Woolberry Natural base. It's a fingering weight base in the colorway something about snow. Oh my gosh, what is it? Wait, I'm gonna look it up because it's gonna bother me if I don't remember what it's called. Okay, so the colorway is I Smell Snow, and I really like this sweater. I really like the fit, and I think because it is in half fisherman's rib, it's really squishy, and so it feels very comfortable, and I think it's a great pairing with the Berry Natural base from Woolberry because it's very soft. And yeah, I've just been getting so much wear out of it. And I will say it is starting to kind of pill a little bit at the cuff, but I think that's just, it's like, because I do wear it quite often. Oh yeah, it is actually kind of pilling. I don't know, maybe it is part of the natural base that just pills a little bit more as well, but it actually makes me happy to see that because it means that I'm getting a good amount of wear out of it. I really, really, really like to wear this sweater. Whenever I do, I feel very happy. It's just very comfortable. I love how the variegated color looks on this. All of that subtle detail like in this, the raglan. And yeah, it took a very long time to knit. I knitted on very small needles. I think it was US 1.5, but I think the end result is worth it, and I want to make another one. I just don't know when or what yarn, but I do at some point want to make another one for sure, because I do love this one. Okay. Next up, we have, what do we have? Oh, okay. We have the No Sweatshirt. This is another knit that I have been wearing a lot of as well. Here it is. It is one of my favorite knits. It is my first hoodie knit, and it's really fun to have a hood, I think, and have like these drawstrings. I just think it's really cute to have a knitted hoodie. It is reverse stockinette, so the outside part is all the purl stitches. And I think for this variegated color, the the No Sweatshirt is a pattern by, oh my gosh, again, I should know this. No Sweatshirt, hold on. It is by Park and Knit, and the yarn is Woolberry Natural DK. So it's still the natural base, but it is the DK weight version in the colorway Mornings at the Coffee Shop, and I just love how this turned out. I think the variegated yarn looks really good in the reverse stockinette, and the fit is really nice. I think the modifications I made to this are just, I made it less cropped, so I made it a little bit longer by just the parts where it does decrease for the body. I did it less frequent so that I would have more rows in the body. So yeah, that worked out really well, and I've been getting a lot of wear out of this. I want to make another hoodie at some point. Maybe a different hoodie pattern. Like, I like this one, but I would like to make a different hoodie pattern. Yeah, okay, the next sweater I'm going to talk about is the Good Willow, which I will bring up here. Okay, the Good Willow sweater, hopefully the camera focuses, is a pattern by Allison Cribbs, and I think it's a really great design. I love the cables on just like, all over on this, because it's all over the body and on the sleeves, and I really like this one panel across the front that has some color work, and I think the flowers are just so cute. I love how they look. I think it's really cute that there's, like a big flower and then some, like 3 different sizes of flowers, it looks like, with the cables. It's very cute. I chose some colors that I thought looked kind of similar to one of her versions of this, and yeah, the yarn I used for this are, the 2 colors are both from Olivia and Oliver Fibers in the classic sock base, and the main color is Burnt Umber and the contrast color is Pink Marble. And the one thing that I wish I did differently is to maybe get this on a DK weight base instead, because the pattern calls for a sport weight, and I don't think, at least at the time that I got this yarn, Olivia and Oliver didn't have a sport weight base, and so I thought fingering weight would be close enough, but if I did more research, a lot of people, maybe not a lot, but there were some test knitters for this pattern that they did use DK weight, and I think that that probably would have been closer actually to the sport weight than a fingering weight. But I did size up, I did gauge swatch to make sure I got a size that I liked, and so it worked out well. But yeah, next time I would have probably preferred to make this using a DK weight yarn. Okay, next up is my big rib sweater. Okay, big rib is by Jessie May, and let me hold it up here. So I used a combination of yarn, all from Explore Knits. So I held together a, oh, actually, how did I do this? Did I write it in my notes? Oh my gosh, okay. I think that I did a fingering weight plus 2 strands of suri. And so I used the Denali sock in Peaches and Cream, and then a suri in Peaches and Cream, and then a suri in Dreamsicle. So the Peaches and Cream, I believe, is the variegated, which might be kind of hard to see, but it is a peachy and white variegated color, and then the Dreamsicle was the more tonal orange or peachy orange color, and it came out to this, and I think it's really cute, and it is pretty bulky, and so it does have to be pretty cold to wear this, but it has been the perfect weather lately to wear this, and so it's been getting some good wear out of it. I think I probably made it a little bit longer than the pattern because I don't really want cropped bulky sweaters, but yeah, that is the big rib. It worked out pretty quickly, but I think the sleeves took longer than I thought it would, considering it is a pretty bulky weight sweater and gauge. So still took a short amount of time, but longer than I thought it would for the gauge. Okay, next up is another sweater with suri. This is actually a suri held double. Again, I love suri held double for sweaters. This is the Telopea sweater, and the yarn I use for this, again, suri held double. It is Chinley from Explore Knits. So just show you that. It is so pretty. Love this color. I love Chinley. I got it on, or this colorway in multiple bases because I really like it. And it is a drop shoulder sweater. My gauge is pretty, it's a tad big for this because I think the original pattern is with, not suri, but with, oh my gosh, brain fart again. It is not suri, it is mohair held double, and I think suri is just a tad thicker, so my gauge is maybe a little big, but overall the sweater fits, and I like the fit. It's pretty close actually. It's just a little more dense, so, which is fine. The sleeve cuff on this has kind of a lace pattern, which is very cute and dainty. And the main reason why I wanted to make this sweater was for, I mean, I guess I could have done this on any other sweater, but it's the ruffle hem, which I really like. This pattern actually has like little roses that you can put on after the fact because they're not baubles. They're like, you have to like embroider them on, which I like having the option to do later, but I probably won't do for this sweater or this version of it for me, but I like the sweater as is. So yeah, so this is my Telopea, and yeah, good sweater, good suri held double sweater, and just cute details on it. Okay, next up we've got the friendship pullover. This was a very casual knit along with my friend Megan, and this is a pattern by Amy Scher, and I love all of her patterns. Well, I haven't knit all of her patterns, but every pattern that I've knit of hers I've really liked, and this was just another one that I got to knit and love. So This one I used Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino, and I think the colorway is Plum Clay, which is kind of a purpley color, mauve. Look at the cables on this in the front. They are so fun. They have these little kind of like twisties all around, and it is a pretty quick knit. It is bottom up raglan, and so it's very interesting because you work the body up till the underarm. You work each sleeve from the cuff up to the underarm, and then you connect and do the decreases from there. So that was pretty interesting to do. That was not the first time that I've done that construction, but it was just interesting to do that again, because I think it's been a while since the last time I've done a sweater with that construction. I did do the folded neckband because I didn't want a funnel neck, but the funnel neck is another version of this sweater, and yeah, this is a good warm sweater to have because I think it is considered a worsted weight yarn, the Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino, and it's good. It's good, it's cute, it's a great one, and I'm happy that I get to match with my friend as well. Okay, next up we have the Kalani blouse by Paisley Knits. This is a test knit, and I think the test knit is over now. I did send in my notes, but the pattern has not come out yet, so not sure when the updated release date will be for this, but here it is. I used Woolberry Fiber Co. Berry Surrey, held double in the colorway I Smell Snow, which maybe sounds familiar. I've made a couple things with that. Maybe, was it only one thing? No, I've made a couple things. Wait, anyway, I Smell Snow. A colorway I've had got on multiple bases. The lighting's getting a little weird now, so it might be kind of hard to see the colorway. It is a variegated, but on Surrey it definitely gets a little bit more watercolory. This is using, I think, like a double moss stitch or an Irish moss stitch, V-neck, sweater, raglan, and it is nicely oversized. And yeah, here, let me hold it back here. Modifications. I did make this a balloon sleeve because I don't really like sleeves to just be really wide near my wrist, and so I think that was like the major modification I made for this pattern. But yeah, so unfortunately the pattern is not out yet, but hopefully we'll see when when the release date is for this, but in the meantime you can see my version. Okay. So that is the Kalani blouse. Next is, this might be another great knit that I've made. This is the Tessellated Pullover by Andrea Mowry. I wanted to make the exact same version that she has in her sample, so I got a kit that uses all the same yarn and colorways as Andrea's version. So that is that. It does use like a spin cycle dyed in the wool, like color changing yarn, as you can maybe tell. This might have been my first mosaic knit. It uses 3 different yarn, a Surrey, the spin cycle, and just like a plain, like this dark green. And that stitch pattern looks amazing. It is surprisingly soft, which maybe is not surprising because it has Surrey, but I thought because the Surrey isn't, used throughout or held with anything, I wasn't sure how soft it would be altogether, but it is soft. It blocked out really nice, and so yeah, I definitely was a little worried about sizing for this because I could have sized up for this, but I didn't want to spend more money on like one more skein of yarn just to make the second size up. But it blocked out really nice, and so I'm very happy. Very, very happy with the end result for this. It is drop shoulder. I like the fit a lot, and it's very comfortable to wear. I love wearing this. I have been wearing this this has been part of my rotation of sweaters that I wear. Okay, we're almost there. We have 4 more sweaters to talk about. Okay, next up is, this is another test knit. This is a Surrey sweater, but it was a single strand of Surrey. This is the Ashling sweater, and the designer is Maddie, Momer01 on Instagram, I believe, and I used Surrey, held by itself, held single, in Woolberry colorway Hello Autumn, which I've used in another knit earlier. It's a variegated color. Oh my gosh, how do I get like a more color accurate lighting here? But yeah, I think you can kind of get the idea. I love the drape of a sweater that's made with a single strand of Surrey. This feels great to wear. It's so airy but still pretty warm. It has a high-low hem, overlaps, very cute ribbing detail on the sides. I love the fit of this sweater. This is another test knit where the pattern has not come out yet. I don't know when the release date will be, but it's such a good sweater. It's one that I want to have another version of, but it did feel like it took me a while to knit because, again, it is Surrey held single, which is, technically a lace weight, so it felt like it took a lot of knitting, but the end result is so worth it. So who knows, I might make another one in the future. Not anytime soon, but I love the end result of this sweater. Okay, next up, oh my gosh, we have the Dad Sweater by Emily Curtis, my second Dad Sweater, because I made one for the test knit a year ago. So not during, it must have been 2022 then, but I made, it's the sweater I am wearing, if you were wondering, Dad Sweater by Emily Curtis, and this is a very special knit because I made it with some hand spun. It is my first ever hand spun sweater, my first ever sweater spin, and I will stand up so you can see it. It is perfect. I'm so happy I chose this pattern for my first hand spun sweater. It is nicely oversized and comfortable stockinette stitch. Has armhole shaping and sleeve cap shaping as well for the sleeves, and I think it looks so great in like this neon tweedy yarn. And the fiber I used for this was Lobby and Amy confetti fiber, and I just love it so much. It feels really good, it makes me so happy. Yes, there's some inconsistencies between all of my skeins of yarn that I made for this, but overall it turned into a sweater that I love to wear, and so I think that's like almost all you can ask for a sweater, and I just love it. So yeah, that is the Dad Sweater, and as you can see, I'm wearing it. I love wearing this. I think it's great to wear. It's the perfect staple piece. I want to make more Dad Sweaters, so yeah, that is the Dad Sweater. My second one that I've ever made. Such a good one. Okay, next up is my Fika pullover, which you may have seen me talk about if you watch my podcast recently-ish. This is my first red sweater. I never thought I would make an all-red sweater, but here we are. The Fika pullover is a pattern by Sari Nordland, and it came out, not super recent, and I didn't, think about making it when it came out, but if you watch Only Murders in the Building, which is a Hulu TV series, in the final episode of season 3, Selena Gomez's character wears a sweater that looks just like this in red, and I was just like, I gotta have it, I gotta knit it, and so I did. The yarn I used for this is Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in the colorway Pomegranate. So I'm really happy that I think this red looks pretty okay on me. I didn't want a red that looked really orange, even though I think that would have fit the sweater better in the show, but I also didn't want like a maroon red so that it looked way too far away from the show version, and so I'm glad that there was this color that I think is a great in-between. It's all over cables. They are huge cables, I won't lie, they kind of hurt my hands to knit such big cables, but thankfully it is, a worsted weight sweater, and so worked up relatively quickly considering it's all cables, and yeah, it looks great. It needs to be really cold to wear though, because it is quite a heavyweight sweater. Oh, also I opted for the neck to do it folded. Starts as a funnel neck, but I didn't like how it looked, and so I just folded it over, but I think that it looks fine like that. So yeah, that is the Fika pullover. And then we are down to the last two sweaters. Okay, next up is my ASU, not anything about the university, sweater, which is a stockinette sweater worked mostly flat, worked sideways. So this is another pattern where I thought it was made to use two different colors, and I thought it would be another great candidate as a project to use one tonal and one variegated that looks great together, and so that's what I did. On the left side, I used Chinley from Explorer Knits Denali Sock, and then on the right side, I used Explorer Knits Denali Sock in, it's a national park. Oh no, what is it? I need to look it up because it's going to bother me. One moment as I try to remember, but also look it up. Bryce Canyon National Park. There we go. Okay, so yeah, so those were the two fingering weight yarn that I used for this. Again, it's worked sideways for the body. Sleeves are picked up and worked in the round as usual. Folded cuff for the sleeve, folded neckband. And yeah, I really like it. I like the fit. And I would probably make another one in another tonal variegated yarn combination. I think that would be really cute. So yeah, so that is the sweater. It has been getting some wear out of it, but also it is, since it is a later in the year finish, it's kind of, that's usually how it goes for recently finished knits. I wear them quite often right after I finish them. And then, last but not least, I have my finished Slightly Sassy V sweater by Amy Scher. Here it is. It is now blocked. Smells great. Feels so soft. I used Moon Drake Co. Fua Fua yarn in the colorway Rose Quartz, which is a really light pink color. The yarn is a brushed like cashmere yarn. It is so soft. I bought this yarn from Flock Fiber Festival. I went and touched it and I was like, I need a sweater quantity. And so yeah, this is another friend knit with friends, and we're all using Fua Fua. I think it's going to be the softest thing I ever knit. It's so comfortable. It fits so well. I will wear it on my next podcast. That is the plan. The V-neck fits perfectly. I love the fit of this. I think the armhole depth is great. And I also made 3/4 sleeves. And so it's just overall like really fun, really nice knit. I want to make more of these, as always, for things that I love the fit of. And it's so good. It's so soft. Okay, and that is it. That is everything that I have knit this year. I hope I didn't miss anything. So that must have been, I talked about 59 projects. Yeah, I do apologize that the lighting got really weird here. It's just because it is now almost 5 p.m. on the day that I'm filming this, and the light is now gone. I could use a lamp, but then everything gets pretty yellow, so but I hope you all don't mind too much. And yeah, so I don't know how I ended the last video, like my 2022, everything I made, I don't know how I ended it because this is not a normal podcast episode, but I would love to know if there's anything that I talked about in this video that inspired you to want to make a version of as well, or if there's things you've also made the same of this past year, or just like anything else you want to let me know about in the comments. If you have questions about the things I've talked about, feel free to comment down below as well, and I'll try to get back to you. And yeah, I am very excited for 2024 to see all the things that I knit this year. And I have no goals in relation to like the amount of things that I knit. I just like to knit as much as possible. That for a healthy amount. I still stretch my hands. I think last year, the beginning of 2023, I was getting a little worried because my fingers were kind of feeling a little weird, and so I definitely wanted to like slow down the knitting a little bit, which is still going to be a goal for this year, just to take it easy. I still want to knit, but just, take it easy. There's no rush to finish a certain amount of things, but I do like knitting, so that is why I just have a lot of things that I finish. I'm excited for more of the spinning to do for this year, and yeah, I can't wait to hear what you all think, and I hope you all have a great, the lighting went away. I hope you all have a great rest of your day or week, and yeah, I will see you in my next video. Bye!